Hello, welcome to Lesson 1.1, Linear Relationships as part of Algebra 2 Mindset. Today we're going to start with an activity called How Do You Stream? Redbox and Netflix are two of the most popular movie rental services in the United States. Redbox costs $1.49 per movie and Netflix costs $8.99 a month. If you only cared about price, how would you decide which service to use? Today we're going to take a look at that. So first we're going to start with Redbox. 1a, write an equation to calculate the cost y of renting X movies if you use Redbox. So it's per movie, so it'll be y equals something X. And if you buy no movies, it's not going to cost you anything because there's no additive cost like Netflix has. So we know there won't be any plus or minus any numbers. It's 0. 149 per movie, we know it is 1.49x. 1b, what is the slope of the line? We know that it's y equals mx plus b. So we know that it has to be m equals 149. So the y-intercept is 0, which means that if you rent 0 movies, the cost is $0. I had to write that down too. Now we're going to write an equation to calculate the cost y of renting X movies if you use Netflix. Now, Netflix is not based on how many movies you rent. It is based on a monthly pay. So there is no slope, or rather, the slope is equal to 0. So it is y equals 0x, and then the cost is $8.99 a month. So it's a baseline of $8.99. Or we can also write it as y equals $8.99. So the slope is 0, and the y-intercept is $8.99. Again, it does not change on how many movies you rent. It is a baseline amount to pay. Kara uses the video service provided by the cable company. So this is a new provider. The table shows the amount of money the service has cost during each of the last 3 months. So how much does each additional movie cost? This means we need to find the slope. So if we look at these first two here, this is really just a table. So we can go ahead and write this out. We can treat the movies as X and the amount as Y. So we can do 16 minus 10 over 4 minus 2, which we will get, not 8. We will get 6 over 2, which equals 3. So that means each additional movie costs $3. So if she rents 0 movies, that means we first have to make a table. So we're going to do movies over costs. Then we'll make a little table here. So we know that 2 movies cost $10, which means if we go down 3, 1 movie costs 7. Go down 1 more, because it's a linear function. 0 is 7 minus 3 is 4. That means $4. So now we have the y-intercept, because coordinate pair 0, 4 is the y-intercept. And the slope we figured out earlier was right here. Won't let me highlight it. There we go. Okay. So now we know the equation is going to be y equals 3x plus 4. So now we're going to graph the 3 equations. The first one we'll graph is, we will do Kara's first. So y-intercept of 4 here. And we'll do rise over run. So rise over run. Up 3 over 1. So this is going to be a ray, if you remember from geometry, continuous line one way. Because you can't get negative movies. So we're just going to go up here and then just go up another. That's our array. Then we'll do we will do red box. So y-intercept is 0. Rise overrun is a little harder since it is a decimal, so we'll kind of guess that's about 1.5 or 3/2. So we can just kind of guess that. It'll be essentially close enough. Of course, we could plug in points if we wanted to, but we don't need to. Do not want to do that. Okay. And then finally, we have the base for Netflix. So we'll zoom in here because it's just under 9. So we'll kind of do it just under 9. Obviously, this isn't as accurate. We'd have to zoom in a ton. But this is y equals 899. Got that? Okay. That was the activity. Now we're going to go on to explaining what this has to do with Algebra 2. So this is linear relationships. So this should be review, but we will still go over it. I'm going to take a few notes, divide it into thirds. So slope-intercept form. I'll zoom in here. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, and slope equals m, which equals change in y over change in x. That's a symbol for change, which is really just y2 minus y1 or x2 minus x1. That's the change. So, and then the y-intercept is b when x equals 0. Okay? So we'll go on over here. So interpreting slope and y-intercept for each additional x plus x, y increases or decreases by whatever value. Y-intercept, like we said, is when x equals 0. Or nothing as x value. Okay, we'll go over to our last section over here, horizontal and vertical lines. We'll delve more into this in another lesson. So I'll just do h plus v lines. These are notes, not a detailed explanation. So horizontal lines are y equals whatever number, and slope is 0. And there's going to be like a straight line across, and they are a function. So is a function. And I would recommend highlighting or circling that. So then horizontal lines. All right, so that's horizontal. And then vertical is when x equals a number. Slope is undefined, which means it's divided by 0, which makes it undefined. So we'll just write UND. We'll do number over 0. It is not a function. That's just straight up. So it's not a function because it does not pass the vertical line test, which you may have heard of. That means if the line has any vertical lines, like if there's one input of x and two outputs of y, two or more than one output of y, that means it does not pass the vertical line test, which means it is not a function. So, for example, circles are not functions. Now, we're going to check our understanding a little bit here. So these first two, I'm not going to write them out. I'm just going to explain them. So number one, the height of a candle in centimeters can be modeled by the linear equation h equals 28 minus 2t. And we can write that into our slope-intercept by doing h equals negative 2t plus 28. And a t can be exchanged for x. So remember to put a little tail on your t so you don't confuse them with plus signs. So interpreting the slope, for every additional hour the candle is burning, the height of the candle decreases by 2 centimeters. Because the slope is negative, it's going down by 2. Interpreting the y-intercept of the equation, when the candle has not been burned yet, when t equals 0, the candle is 28 centimeters tall. So if we were to plug in 0 for t, 0 times negative 2 is nothing, h equals 28. Now we're going to find the slope that passes through negative 8, 7, and 1, negative 5. So by doing that, we do change y over change in x. Remember that. So we're going to do negative 5 minus 7 over 1 minus negative 8. Now, as you get a little bit better, you won't have to write this out step by step. Instead, you'll do something like negative 5 minus 7 over 1 plus 8, because subtracting a negative number is the same as adding. So we're going to have, let's see, we're going to have negative 12 over 9, which can be simplified if you divide by 3, to negative 4 thirds. So a line that has an undefined slope and passes through negative 3, 7. Remember, an undefined slope means it's a vertical line. So that means it just has to be x equals whatever number has infinite outputs. X equals negative 3 because that's our x value that we can see right here. It's a little covered up by my 8. Number 4, a caterer charges $150 to cater a party for 20 people and $222 to cater a party for 28 people. Assuming that the cost for catering a party of X people is a linear equation, determine the cost of catering a party for 50 people. So what we're going to do is we're going to first find the price per person. So we're going to do price per person as not a division. So we're going to do $222, which is 28, minus $150, and we can really just remove those dollar signs. They're not necessary. 222, 150, divided by 72. Nope, divided by 8 people. My bad. 222 minus 150 is 72. So that's really 72. I misspoke. Which equals $9 per person. So now that we know it's 9 people, we can do 150 equals 9 times 20 plus b. So I'm going to go down onto number 5 a little bit. 150 equals 180 plus b. Subtract from both 180 from both sides. We'll get b equals negative 30. Which means y equals 9x minus 30. All right. So now finally we're going to write an equation for the line shown. And this is simple rise over run. So rise up 1, run over 3. We have a y-intercept of negative 1. So we can write that as y equals, it's positive, it's going up, 1/3 x minus 1. That was lesson 1.1 of Algebra 2 Mindset. Have a good one.